Can you believe it? We're only 4 weeks away from the start of Casey Anthony's murder trial. As we count down the next 28 days, I'm going to take you inside Casey Anthony's life, show you where she lived, the places she hung out, and talk to those people who knew her both before and after little Kaylee Anthony was killed. Speaking of Kaylee, what was that mother-daughter dynamic like? How did Casey treat Kaylee? Was she the loving, attentive mother some people say she was, or was she a young woman who had a child too soon and just wanted to go back to her single partying lifestyle? Today, we're going to hear friends and acquaintances paint a picture of Casey and Kaylee's relationship. But first, I want to mention that jury selection for this case starts in exactly 28 days. At the end of Friday's hearing, Judge Belvin Perry laid out his plan for finding a jury.
We will attempt to try to get one here. If we fail, then we will go somewhere else. But I would like to hear what arguments you have against that. If you prevail, then I will have a secondary location in line for that Tuesday.
All right, basically, Judge Perry said he would consider changing the jury pool location only if they can't find a jury outside of Orlando. Let's bring in my guest. Joining us tonight, Florida State Prosecutor Stacey Honowitz, Judge Alex Ferrer, host of the syndicated Judge Alex Show, Richard Hornsby, criminal defense attorney right there in Orlando, Florida, and Gene Casares, correspondent for In Session on our sister network, True TV. Gene, great to have you here. Gene, let's start with this jury selection. It seemed to me like Judge Perry was trying to scare the attorneys a little bit, saying, listen, you guys better get this done in 1 week in the location that I chose.
Either that, Vinny, or we're going to be traveling around Florida, okay? Because Judge Perry said we should have a jury by Thursday, very latest Friday. That means 4 days, Vinny, to select a jury from one of the highest profile cases in the last 10 years. And it's a death penalty case. And if not, he says, we'll just go back to Orange County, Florida, and get that jury. Now, Vinny, come on. You know there'd be a reversal.
You can't do it in Orange County. You can't do it.
No, you can't. There'd be a reversal. It would be an appellate issue of all appellate issues, right?
Unbelievable.
So I think he was sending a message.
Yeah. Judge Alex, I want to ask you, can they get a jury in 4 days, 5 days? Judge Perry, I mean, he gets things done. How much control does a judge have in that process of getting a jury?
A judge has a lot of control, but a judge has got to tread lightly because at the end of the week, this is a death penalty case. I love Judge Perry. I've known him for many years. I will be very impressed if he gets a jury in 4 days. But it can be done. You can get a jury in Orange County, no question about it. I had one of the most high-profile cases in Miami's history. In fact, it was such a high-profile case that Michael Bay is making a movie out of it currently. I picked a jury in Miami-Dade County on that case, and that case was on the news every single day.
How long did it take you, Judge Alex?
It took me 30 days to pick a jury.
30 days? Yep. 30 days, okay.
So
that's
I will
more than
be
4 days.
appropriately impressed.
Okay. Hey, let me ask Richard. Richard, Judge Perry, he's right there in Orange County, Orlando. That's where you practice criminal law. You think Judge Perry gets this jury in 4 days?
I highly doubt he'll be able to get a jury in 4 or 5 days. I've got to think it's going to take way longer than that. And if it has to come back to Orange County, I definitely don't think he could get a jury here. There's just way too much publicity right now.
Gene, where else could they go? I mean, do we know?
They could go anywhere. They could go to Gainesville. Do you realize there is precedent-setting law in Florida that Gainesville did not deny a defendant the right to a fair trial, even though it's a small town, the demographics are not really
Gainesville's not a good place for criminal defendants down in Florida, Gene.
No, but here's the judge, I think, is trying to preserve Casey Anthony's right to a fair trial because the judge said there's going to be a frenzy once it's realized where we go for jury selection. I think he thinks people are going to talk. The jury pool might get tainted after 4 to 5 days.
Wow. All right. Stacey, from your perspective as a prosecutor, are you concerned about the jury selection process, or you just want to get 12 bodies in there because you've got a strong case, you feel like you can prove the thing? How important is it to a prosecutor, the type of jury that's in there? Because if anyone's heard about this case, the presumption is the people that have heard about it are good for the prosecution, bad for the defense.
Well, getting a good jury is important for both the prosecution and the defense. I don't think any attorney ever walks into a trial and says, let me just put 12 or 6 bodies in a chair and see what happens.
What I meant, Stacey, in this case is that people have heard about it and people have made their opinions. I think there's more opinions out there in Florida that are against Casey Anthony than are for her.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at things when we talk a prosecutor and a defense attorney on a high profile all over the country, not just high profile in Orlando, I mean, high profile all over the country, death penalty, to say if we don't get a jury in 4 to 5 days, I think really puts the screws, because I'm going to tell you something. I don't think there's any way possible that a jury is going to be selected.
I'm going out on a limb. I'm betting on Judge Perry. I'm just going out on a limb. I'm going to say he's going to do it. I don't know. Let's go to the phone line. Say you want to call us on this 1-877 tell HLN. Rashawn is in Kentucky tonight. Good evening, Rashawn.
Hi. How you been doing?
Excellent. Your thoughts tonight?
Well, I think that Casey Anthony is, I think it's simply both, that she was a loving mother and a cold-blooded killer. I think what happened first is that she was a loving mother, but then throughout the timeline, she transformed and felt that, oh, I need a break. So that's why you've seen those pictures of her partying. So she feels that she needs a break. And then from having the many breaks she felt, everything spiraling out of control based on having this child, having Kaylee unexpectedly, she somehow thought that, maybe I can just tragically murder her so I can be free. But
interesting, Rashawn. You're sort of buying into the prosecution theory here. Here's what I want to do. I want to show you a picture, and I haven't seen this one in that many places. It's a picture of Casey kissing her newborn child, Kaylee. I want you to take a look at this picture, because this is another issue I want to talk about tonight with our guests, which is the relationship between mother and daughter, and I'm talking about Casey and Kaylee. What exactly was that relationship like? Gene, I want to start with you, Gene. Different pictures painted by different people when you talk to them, but I'll be honest with you. I think when she was with Kaylee, she loved her. I mean, from the pictures that we've seen, I mean, it looks to me like genuine love.
Oh, yeah, and I think on all these prosecution witnesses on cross-examination during the state's case in chief, defense is going to bring out that loving relationship.
I want you to take a listen to Melina Calabrese. This is a childhood friend of Casey Anthony's. Take a listen to her describing that relationship.
She was very good with Kaylee. She gave Kaylee almost everything that a little girl could need or want. She was very good with her when Kaylee did get upset randomly. Casey was very good with her. Just never raised her voice. Always, I never once ever saw her touch her in a negatory way.
And you know what? I went down to Orlando, and I spoke to some folks who saw the interaction between Casey and Kaylee. You may be surprised by what they have to say. We're going to talk about, our guest stay with us, 877 tell HLN. We're going to talk about the relationship, mother-daughter, Casey Anthony and little Kaylee.
Okay, guys, what sounds good for dinner tonight?
I don't know, something.
No, we have a family-oriented shop, and it's family-owned, and we're one of the very few shops that allow children in the shop as long as there's a parent with them.
Right. So how would you, because you got a chance to observe something that I never got a chance to observe, which is Casey Anthony with her daughter.
Yeah.
How would you,
That's the scariest part of it all.
Why?
Because she was a very attentive mother.
She was?
Yeah.
Well, give me an example.
If people were getting tattooed and she was hanging out, she'd be on the couch, playing with the kid and, feeding her, doing whatever she was doing with her. And she was coming in here for years, so we saw that kid go from, almost infant to toddler. Always very attentive.
And loving?
Very.
Casey Anthony's murder trial, 28 days away. And that was the owner of the tattoo shop where Casey Anthony got that Bella Vita tattoo, Beautiful Life. That's what she got. She used to bring Kaylee there all the time. So he got to observe Casey and Kaylee together in that relationship. Unbelievable stuff. I want you to take a look at 2 pictures, because I think these 2 pictures tell 2 different stories. And on one side, it's Casey Anthony and those famous party pictures from the nightclub while her daughter's missing. And on the other side is Casey and Kaylee together. And I don't understand how these 2 pictures can coexist and what's going to happen at trial. Judge Alex Should the jury, first of all, see the pictures, see the videos, whether it's Kaylee and Casey acting lovingly together or Casey Anthony out partying while her daughter's missing? Is that fair evidence for this jury to consider, Judge Alex? Would you let it in your courtroom?
Well, I hate to rule in advance of hearing the lawyer's arguments on it, but my end judgment on it is, so what? We're giving so much weight to the fact that she had a loving relationship with her daughter. You remember all the people that you see who commit horrible, horrific crimes, and they go interview the neighbors, and the neighbors all go, wow, I never saw that coming. He was a really nice guy. And no one ever would have expected he would do anything like that. We put so much emphasis and weight on the idea that past behavior reflects future behavior. And that's true to a certain extent, but it absolutely is not conclusive. So
let's go to the birthday boy, Richard Hornsby. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
How does the defense get this in front of the jury? Can they get these loving pictures, these videos, people testifying, witness after witness saying what a great mother Casey was to Kaylee?
I don't have any doubt the defense is going to be able to get this. Remember, those pictures are just snapshots in her life. The key for the defense is going to be to paint the entire body of her work with Kaylee and how she was with Kaylee. And every time the state puts on a witness, the defense is going to come right back and try to get in all this past conduct about how she loved Kaylee, about how she would have no motive to kill Kaylee. Because remember, the state is saying premeditated murder, and so to attack that motive is to show how she was with Kaylee and that she had no motive.
Look at that. That's mother-daughter. That's love. Stacey, how do you battle that as a prosecutor?
Let me tell you something. They can show 1 million photo albums of her hugging and kissing this child. How are you going to counter that this attentive, loving, wonderful mother didn't call the police for 31 days when her child was missing? Every snapshot, every great aspect of her life goes out the window because you can never explain or justify it. So it's a big so what for the prosecution. You can show these pictures till the cows come home. So what?
All right, we're taking your phone calls. I'm going to get to them after this break. 877-TEL-HLN. What do you think? Casey Anthony, loving mother? Is it relevant? Give us a call. How would you describe the interaction between mother and daughter when they were here together?
It was like she was a mother to her. Just anything, just her holding her hand or just holding her, very motherly-like.
That's Bobby Williams describing that relationship between Casey and Kaylee. That's the tattoo artist who actually gave Casey Anthony her tattoo. Taking your phone calls. Maureen is in Vermont tonight. Good evening, Maureen.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent. What do you think about Casey Anthony and the relationship, mother-daughter?
Well, I think Casey adored Kaylee. But I think when she met Tony, that she liked to be with Tony more than she liked to be with Kaylee.
Maureen, thanks so much. Gene Casares, how about that? Tony Lazaro, he's the last boyfriend that Casey Anthony has, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think she was smitten by him. I think she really, really liked him. And I believe we heard something early on about, he accepted Kaylee into the home, but there may have been an issue about a permanent relationship, not wanting a mother with a child, something like that, if my memory serves me right. But he's going to be a pivotal witness for the prosecution.
Speaking of boyfriends, how about another ex-boyfriend, Ricardo? Hear his description of the mother-daughter relationship.
Got along fine. From what I saw with her and Kaylee, she was always attentive. If Kaylee needed anything, she would feed her, change her, give her juice, make sure she had all her little teddy bears to go to bed with. From what I saw between her and Casey, Casey and Kaylee, it was a good relationship. I thought Casey was a good mother.
A lot of kisses, a lot of hugs.
Yeah, she was pretty affectionate with her.
Judge Alex, she's an affectionate mom. How do you get to a motive in this case? If you've got a mother who loves a daughter, why on earth and what argument could the prosecution possibly make as a motive to kill this girl? Premeditated murder, Judge.
They don't have to have a motive. That's a misconception a lot of people have. One of the things that the prosecution does not have to prove is why the murderer killed the person. It's not an element of the crime. It's one of the things that vexed me most as a judge, that I sit through a trial and the prosecution would prove their case, and they would prove the what, the when, the where, the how. They'd never prove the why, and they don't have to, and we may never know. If this case ends with a conviction, we may all spend the rest of our life wondering why she did it and never get that answer. That's just the way it is.
All right, Judge Alex, great to see you. Stacey Honowitz, Richard Hornsby, we'll be seeing a lot of you down in Orlando. And, of course, Gene Casares, thanks as well.